I am Sarajane Case, and this is Enneagram and Coffee. Kindness through the lens of the three centers. But first, today's rosebud and thorn. My rose right now is that I've been working in Pomodoros, which is just like 25-minute work segments. I think we've talked about that before. But on my little 5-minute breaks, I've been taking just like this beautiful little walk around our yard. You can kind of walk out our front door and then walk a whole circle around our house and then walk in our side door through the kitchen. And it is just like this really nice way to get a little bit of movement in every 25 minutes, see the yard, get fresh air, and just kind of intentionally meditate throughout the day. Like I can pause and look around and see things that maybe I wouldn't notice otherwise. One of which I will share with you in a minute. But my thorn for today is kind of along with this. It's the reason I started the walks, which is just working at a desk all day or, sitting for my job. When I was a barista a million years ago, I loved that I would end the workday just physically taxed and tired. And now it's kind of the opposite, right? I end my workday mentally tired, but physically, I haven't really exerted myself very much. I'll do a little bit of yoga in the morning, and then throughout the day, I could just not move at all. So that's why I started these little walks, just to kind of integrate movement regularly into my day, and to feel more alive, other than just like my workout times. And then my bud is another thing related to my walks today, which is that I noticed today that the buds were showing up on the plants. So my bud is literal buds, and the coming of spring and it just kind of being in the air, I feel like the end of winter is coming and spring is on its way, and I can start thinking about the garden and all of these things, and it's so exciting. It's my favorite time of the year. Today I'm excited to jump into our topic, but I want to be clear up front that a lot of what we're discussing comes from a workshop I took with the amazing Peter O'Hanrahan. If you've done my summit, you've probably heard workshops from him, including subtypes and one discussion on relationships. I did this workshop with him through the narrative school, and his work is so good. And if you're able to take a workshop with him, I highly recommend it. I will also link an article by him in the show notes that you can check out. It goes even deeper in how each center shows love even through their subtype, how we can block love, how we can take this to the extreme and taking a positive thing and turning it into a negative thing. It's mind-blowing, so good. So that's linked in the show notes for you. Now, in our episode, we're going to talk about how each center may show kindness and how you can intentionally work to balance those centers out. This glosses the surface of the workshop, like I said. So I do want to make sure I'm giving you a taste, but I want you to go deeper. The centers of the Enneagram are the head center, types 5, 6, and 7, the gut center, types 8, 9, and 1, and the heart center, types 2, 3, and 4. The head center tends to deal with anxiety and live out of their head space. The gut center tends to deal with anger and can be more instinctual. The heart center tends to deal with shame or image consciousness and are feelings driven. Now, when it comes to showing kindness, each of these centers have unique ways of expressing. Our head types, types 5, 6, and 7, show and receive kindness through seeing people for who they are, noticing people, and reflecting the positive back to them. Our gut types, types 8, 9, and 1, share and receive kindness through doing for others, taking action, getting things done. Our heart types, types 2, 3, and 4, share and receive kindness through emotional connection or even romantic love. Now, this concept was mind-blowing for me when I first heard it because I've often struggled to really understand how I share love with others, right? I'm not the first person to volunteer to help you move, and I'm not very romantic by nature, but I definitely do help people to see themselves. Like, that's what I do without even trying. Another way we can play with this is to intentionally share kindness to people in different centers. As you may know, my dear husband is a type 4, and a good example of this is randomly on our drive yesterday, I told him that springtime always reminds me of falling in love with him. And that meant so much to him. It honestly surprised me because I don't personally receive love that particular way. So I was just saying a fact, like this time of year reminds me of you, and I love him and I was feeling romantic, but it meant way more to him because I was meeting him in his center. An example of a similar experience for me is that probably 6 years ago now, a girl randomly said to me, it's like you don't want people knowing how smart you are. And this isn't someone who is regularly in my life. I like her as a person, but we weren't ever really close. But those words have stuck with me for years because not only did she help me to see myself both as smart, so she saw me positively, and she helped me to see myself in more nuance than I was able to see before. So she helped me to see myself more clearly, that not only was I intelligent, but I was kind of softening that presentation of that to not make other people comfortable. Another example, I often talk about when we love a type 8 and how when we try to do it from a place of softness, it's not always heard because they need to see our strength in order to relax. So one of the kindest things we can do for our 8s in our lives is to show up confidently and competently to take care of things so they can take a break, right? Because they're looking for evidence that they don't need to take over. Similarly, we can pay attention to the specific way that our type 1s like things done and do them for them so that they can experience rest. It's not really enough just to do the dishes, but it means a whole lot to do the dishes the way that they would do the dishes. These are the things we're doing on autopilot as our type for others, and often we're used to there being a deficit. It's not just type 2s that are giving more than they receive. They're just the ones doing it in the most traditional sense. But we can think about it like this. Our type 1s are used to thinking through the best possible way to do things, and they're also used to not receiving that in return. Our type 2s are used to anticipating the needs of others and not receiving that in return. Our 3s are used to driving the success ship of their lives or pushing people toward their goals and not receiving that in return. Our 4s being emotionally available. Our 5s giving people space to be and experience life on their own. 6s being reliable. 7s bringing the good mood, bringing the sunshine. 8s taking care of things that need to be done. And our 9s are used to mediating the energy of a room and not having that reciprocated for them. So while it's our personal responsibility to open our eyes to the other ways of sharing and receiving kindness, so that the kindness being shared naturally isn't missed, we can also intentionally show kindness in the way that is most likely to be received. So we can customize this down to type, but it can also be as simple as connecting emotionally, sharing the positive way you see someone, or taking a task off of someone's to-do list. Now, today's food for thought is from Saint Basil. A tree is known by its fruit, a man by his deeds. A good deed is never lost. He who sows courtesy reaps friendship, and he who plants kindness gathers love. Thank you guys so much for joining me for today's episode. I hope you kind of got inspired to share kindness in a unique way to someone that you care about. And if you haven't already, leave a 5-star review in iTunes. It would mean the world to me. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you tomorrow for the next episode.